Brett and Hal back with you on a Monday evening in Pinehurst, North Carolina.
This is not the All-American City.
It is not the All-American City.
But I sure like it.
That's because you got to play some free golf yesterday, and we've had a good time here at the ACC Football Kickoff and learned quite a few things, including that Marquise Williams' dog likes to watch The Walking Dead.
Well, let's pick up with Marquise Williams, the quarterback for the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I'm not a big fan of Carolina.
Really?
I think people know that, but I will tell you that he seems so laid back. He just seems like a guy that's really comfortable in his own skin.
He is, and he's not the the typical guy that you would expect as a quarterback, a big time college quarterback, because he really just doesn't have that kind of ego. He's looking to spread the ball around. In fact, I think what says the most about him was a couple of years ago after Bryn Renner got hurt, and he took over as the starting quarterback. The next game, he wore Renner's number 2. Instead of wearing his own jersey, he wore Bryn Renner's as a tribute to him, and I think that says an awful lot about him. Listen, offense wasn't UNC's problem last year, although they didn't run the ball as well as they should have, especially given the running backs that they've got, T.J. Logan, Isaiah Hicks, and Isaiah Hicks is the basketball player. What the kid that almost signed from Notre Dame. But they Isaiah Hood.
Isaiah Hood.
Yeah, they too many guys with close names. But anyway. But that wasn't the problem. Against East Carolina, they scored 41 points, 40 points.
Right, they put numbers up.
The problem with UNC is defense, and
well, there was the offensive line issue because he sat here right here and said one of his goals for this year is to not get beat up enough.
This is true.
He said, one of the goals for him was not to get beat up. Take so many hits. I've got to learn to, and in my words, he didn't say this, but I can paraphrase, dink and dunk and hand the ball off when necessary. So that was a problem, the offensive line.
It was, but by and large, they played well enough on the offensive side of the football to win more than 6 games. The problem was they couldn't stop anybody. And as Jeff Schottner, who's the other UNC player that's here today, was asked how much better and how much of an effect the new defensive coordinator, Gene Chiswick, has made and can make this year. He said, we were the worst defense in the ACC last year. We've got to be better. There's no choice but to be better. The question is how much better. And listen, they've changed schemes, and they've got a new leader who clearly they respect. But the problem is you've got a lot of the same players. And, as they once said, we've got everybody back this year. The problem is we've got everybody back this year.
Recruiting hasn't been North Carolina's problem. They've recruited very well. It's just that maybe that scheme that they ran was just not good for that team that they have. Defensively, there's a lot of guys that pick Chapel Hill over some other ACC teams like a Clemson, an NC State, a Florida State, and some SEC teams. So I was going to say, I think the defense will be a lot better. Do I think it'll get them to 9-3? I doubt it. 8-4 is probably more realistic for this team this year.
Well, that would be a good season because in Fedora's reign there, there's 3 seasons. They won 8 the first year, 7 the second year, 6 this last year. So they need to kind of put it back in forward because it's going in reverse right now, and he is not in any kind of danger. He's not under any kind of pressure.
No, he's not.
I can tell you this: when he was hired, Bubba Cunningham gave him assurance that he was going to get a chance, to ride out the sanctions and then, rebuild the talent pool through recruiting. I've been told that he was basically told he had at least 6 years, and so I don't think he's in any trouble. But he does need to kind of to stem the tide and get it back going in the right direction. And the thing about it is, they ran Duke out of Duke's own stadium on a Thursday night last year, and you just kind of felt like that team had turned the corner and that they were ready to take off. And then they turn around the next week and just lay a total egg against NC State, and then didn't bother to show up for the bowl game in Detroit. And now you go into the off season where as opposed to State with its 8 wins and 5 out of the last 6 and all that momentum. Now they went into the off season having to make major changes and really kind of attitude adjustment.
Well, there's two things that I wanted to mention about Carolina, and gosh, I'm not piling on. But
Oh yeah, you are. You're a State fan.
The Fox News website, the Fox Sports website, had a link just posted yesterday in reference to something about agents. I mean,
It's not new news. It's not new news.
Okay, so
and I'll tell you something else too. The notice of allegations is out,
right?
And there's nothing new that's going to get added to that. Okay,
No.
that's what the allegations are.
But that had nothing to do with the agent side. But anyway, the other question.
Then why did you mention it?
No, I'm saying
Okay.
because you said they're out from under NCAA.
Well, they are from
investigations
the original sanctions.
for the moment. And I think that's why I mentioned that. I'm not mentioning it to pile on. I'm just saying something could happen, and it really could from that story. But
You could get hit by lightning too.
I sure could. Right.
Here's the thing, though. Larry Fedora and Roy Williams are both selling to their recruits that it's going to be okay.
Well, some of them are not coming. Did they not lose a couple this spring? I think they did.
Well, as I say, anytime you have any kind of NCAA sanctions where guys can't play in the bowl game or can't play in the NCAA tournament in basketball, yeah, you're going to lose some guys. Now, it's still Carolina. They're still going to do very well recruiting basketball, and they're still going to do very well recruiting football-wise. I think with Fedora, even though he might not necessarily have the Villagers at the gate, they're definitely coming. If they go 6-7 again this year or 5-7, they're coming. Now the AD might give him another year or two, but as I say, they're going to start coming.
Well, y'all didn't.
Do
let
the
me
fans
finish.
in Chapel Hill really care that much about football? I mean, seriously. I mean, now if it's basketball, okay, we're talking about pitchforks and torches, okay? But really, do they care that much about football?
I know the people that I run with in my neighborhood who talk about Carolina football. Just this weekend, I had a guy say, you know, Hal, I don't really watch Carolina football anymore. Not until we're completely past all this stuff. And that's two people. One of them's a doctor.
I want to throw this out there,
graduated
too.
from there.
I want to throw this out there,
I don't
too.
even want to watch anymore.
When you're talking about, I don't know why we're talking about sanctions here.
Well, I meant to move on to a second issue, but y'all sort of drove it home.
But you know, there's a line of thinking that if the NCAA comes back and hits Carolina football again after already punishing them, right? What, 4 years of scholarships, a year without bowl? Wouldn't that be kind of double jeopardy? Because isn't this basically the same stuff?
I don't know if the agent thing is the same stuff. I think the agent thing may be something new. Here, my second point was that Gene Chiswick, I heard some people asking the question or rumblings, is he coming in here to build this defensive program for the long haul, or is he coming in here until he gets the next job?
Yes and yes. What he's doing is, see, I think it's a good hire because even if he does use this to get, you know, to kind of build his brand back up and get another head coaching job, and even if it's as early as next year, I think the fact that he comes in this year and gives that defense a little credibility that it didn't have, he changes the scheme, he kind of changes the mindset, changes the culture. You know, I think that even if it's a one-year thing, it's still a positive thing.
Oh, absolutely. As I say, yes, Gene Chiswick is not going to be the defense coordinator in North Carolina for 10 years. That's not going to happen.
4 years?
I'm going to say 2.
I'm betting on 1, but
Yeah, I was going to say maybe 2. Because again, when he left Auburn, it wasn't like he left on the greatest of terms. I mean, he basically went downhill quickly. So I was going to say, I think Chiswick's there 2 years and that's it.
And again, it really doesn't matter because what he's doing is he's setting a foundation that they didn't have, and so the next guy will have a much better situation to step into.
And it could be a guy on the staff.
And it could be a guy on the staff.
All right, we got 15 minutes before our next break, and we still got a break. We got to talk a little bit about Duke. We had Matt Skura. I want to say Sugar, but that's somebody else. Skura on today, and the Duke Blue Devils are going to be playing hopefully in a new stadium with new
Well, it's an old
everything.
stadium, but it's just a
old
new,
stadium
newly redone.
Hey, well, to me, it's new. If I go out and buy a used new car or a new used car, it's a new car to me.
From Hendrick Fiat too.
From Hendrick Fiat. If I buy it used, it's still new to me. So they're going to be playing in a new stadium, and the culture you mentioned to Matt that it has changed.
It has. You know, Duke at one point was so bad in football that when they broke a contract to play Louisville and Louisville sued, a judge in Kentucky ruled that they couldn't do any worse. So any opponent that they could find would be, you know, a suitable replacement and threw it out. So that's how bad Duke football was at one point, very recently, 5-6 years ago? And now they're coming off a 2-year stretch in which they've won 19 games. And I would be willing to bet that when the poll comes out tomorrow, the preseason ACC poll comes out tomorrow, Duke is in the bottom half, is picked to finish in the bottom half of the Coastal Division standings, just because people still can't grasp the concept that Duke is good. And while Kelby Brown going out and with a career-ending knee injury is a tough blow for that defense, they still have an All-America safety in Jeremy Cash who was here. They still have Devon Edwards, who was an All-ACC defensive back 2 years ago and who's just as good now. They still have a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And even though Anthony Boone is gone, a 2-year starter quarterback, they've got 2 running backs, Sean Wilson and Shaq Powell, who are as good as anybody in the league. Matt Skura is a Remington Award candidate at center. They've got a quarterback in Thomas Sirk, who, while he is inexperienced as a starter, has played a great deal as the short yardage guy last year. I think Duke is going to fly under the radar again, and if you can still be a surprise after 2 seasons where you win 10 and 9 games, I think they're going to be a team that is going to surprise people in the Coastal again.